Alright guys, so today I got a question from somebody talking in it. It's a question I get all the time. If it doesn't happen weekly or in every other orientation, I'm very surprised. And that question is in regards to should I just do cardio, and as a woman will I gain muscle too quickly? So let's knock the first one out of the way to begin with, or knock the easiest one out of the way to begin with. When it comes to females, right, it is literally for about 99.99999% of females, and to the person I'm making this video for, you're in that 99.99%, by the way. It is impossible for them to put on muscle at the rate that they're worried about as far as getting big and bulky. We train a ton of young athletes, young guys that want nothing more than to get absolutely huge and jacked and everything else, and to get big and bulky. They have testosterone levels that are at the peak of their life and hundreds of times higher than what yours are, and yet they still struggle to gain 10 pounds at a time. 10 pounds over the course of a few months or the course of an off season is a pretty solid gain. You guys are not going to get big and bulky. That first and foremost is an absolute just a flawed logic, and it's not going to happen. If you do gain muscle, as we're going to show here, it's actually a good thing, and you're going to like the way you, I feel like I'm talking like Men's Warehouse. You're going to love the way you look. I guarantee it. So here's the deal, right? The idea of the cardio. I just need to do cardio right now. If I do cardio, I'll lose weight. If I cut calories, I'll lose weight. This little fancy graph is going to unpack a lot of these misconceptions and hopefully give us a little better idea of why we do things the way we do and why it works so well. So in this fancy example, we've got two people. We've got red person and we've got green person that both start at the same weight. They're both starting at 200 pounds over here, right? Now the red person is going to be kind of your typical, they're going to do cardio and they're going to go on a calorie restriction diet. Now, you know, you can count points, you can eat 800 calories a day, or be told by these companies to eat 800 calories a day and to not exercise, and you will lose weight at first. Here's where it gets bad, right? So as you lose weight, if you're that red person that's going on an extreme calorie restricted diet and you're just doing cardio or no working out at all, you will lose weight relatively quickly. So you're going to have a nice bump. We're kind of playing this out over the course of 6 months. You can see we've got 200 up here, and this right here is 150. We're going to call that the goal weight for this person. But basically, this person starts off, they're going to have a nice drop of fat loss right away. Awesome, right? Well, it would be awesome if the weight we were losing was just fat. The problem here, in this initial jump, there will be stored muscle glycogen. Basically, that's just stored carbohydrate, stored fuel. People can store anywhere from like 3 to 10 pounds of that stuff, depending on how big you are, how much muscle you have, things like that. So you can just deplete yourself of carbohydrates and deplete yourself of water. That stuff holds a bunch of water and lose a bunch of water weight right away. That's why things like Atkins are going into a carb-restricted diet. You tend to see a lot of weight loss very quickly. Most of that is not going to be fat. If you go extreme calorie restriction and just do cardio, basically just do training that gives your muscle no reason to stick around, you are going to lose a high percentage of muscle mass along with that other weight. We know that muscle, it takes more to keep around, so it burns more calories. Muscle improves your metabolism. When you drop that muscle, the opposite is true. You're going to lower your metabolism, so you're going to have to eat less and or do more cardio to burn more muscle and more fat in order to continue losing weight. So these plans will typically have you losing a bunch of weight, and I use these examples not because the person that asked me is in that range necessarily, but because I've seen this happen over and over and over and over. People coming to me from these programs saying, oh, I lost, 25, 30 pounds, I lost all this weight, and now I'm heavier than I was when I started. And this is, I'm telling you why here. So they continue to lose some weight, they're continuing to drop their calories down to almost freaking inhuman amounts. They're continuing to lose muscle because the only activity they're doing, if they're doing anything at all, is cardio, which gives muscle no reason to stick around. There's no stimulation of the muscle to say, hey, I need you on my body. Instead, it's easier for the body to say, oh, I need this fuel because you're eating so few calories, you're starving me, to break that muscle down and basically feed itself through your muscle, if that makes sense. Now, what inevitably happens at some point in this journey, in the cardio and calorie dropping journey, we hit a breaking point where you get stuck, and you'll be stuck for a few weeks, a few months, whatever it is, and at some point you're gonna get fed up with eating like a bird and eating 600, 800, 900 calories a day, even 1,000 calories a day, and you're gonna eat more like a normal human again. Now the problem is, after all these weeks and months of eating like a bird and doing nothing but cardio, you've set yourself up for complete and utter disaster. Your metabolism is at an all-time low, you're in starvation mode, you have no muscle that sort of gives the food you're eating somewhere to go or something to do. So your metabolism is at an all-time low. You start eating at even close, you're not even up to the amount that you were eating when you were 200 pounds. You're eating a little bit healthier than you were then, but still not as low as you were when you were in big time calorie restriction mode. And guess what? You're gonna gain weight probably faster than you ever have in your life. So this weight is, once you hit that breaking point and you get off this diet plan, you're going up, 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 and up again, and you've set yourself up for failure. This is why we don't do calorie restriction. We don't have you guys focus on that or have you eating like a bird, and it's why we don't have you just do cardio. Now, doing some cardio and doing some walking and things like that is perfectly good and well when it complements a program that forces muscle to stay around, that causes you to gain good lean muscle. When we say tone, when we want that tone look, all tone is removing the fat around the muscle and having some muscle to show. That's what the tone look, that it's typically ladies that come in and use that word, but that's what the tone look that we're looking for comes from, is removing some fat and having some muscle there to kind of show. So the alternative here is when we do a program that we improve our eating. That doesn't mean more eating necessarily, but we're going to improve our nutrition, improve our eating habits, and we're going to do strength-based interval training, okay? Now, the kicker with this strength-based interval training is it's going to raise our metabolism. It's going to have us burning more calories, both in the short and long term, but it's also going to stimulate our muscle and give our muscle a reason to stick around, so that if we do get back to eating like closer to a normal human, we won't gain weight as fast. We'll have some muscle there that will sort of protect us from really super crazy fast fat gain. So the way that works, the way the progress curve kind of looks like, with a lot of our people, they'll come in and they're eating a lot of processed foods, they're eating a lot of junk food, a lot of carbs. When we get to a better nutritional plan, they'll have a similar quick drop because they've dropped some carbohydrates. A lot of that will be water weight. The difference is because we're doing this strength training, they're not burning a ton of muscle mass as they're doing that. So most of the weight that they lose will be fat and water. So we have that quick drop. And then it's gonna be a little bit of a more level curve. It'll be slower progress, it'll be a little bit more steady. It's still a good rate, right? We have people that are crazy happy with the speed at which they've lost weight. 32 pounds in 80 days, things like that. 100 pounds in a year, 110 pounds in a year, all that good stuff. But the difference is how we do it. So when this person continues to drop and gets to that point where they say, oh, well, I think I'm gonna eat a little bit more normal. I'm gonna cheat a little bit more than I have been for this first few months. They're not gonna see the same crazy rate of gain that the cardio person did, right? They've got muscle. They have a higher metabolism now than they did when they started. They've built muscle, and so they're not gonna gain weight in the same way. Odds are they'll continue to lose some weight, or at the very worst, maintain it if they continue on the plan. Now, here's when we talk about cardio itself, let's just talk about the metabolism in a little bit more of a short-term concept, and why we don't just have you guys do cardio or hop on treadmills for hours and hours. So when we think about effects of metabolism, we've got a few things here, right? We've got muscle gain, which improves your metabolism in the very long term. Muscle gain is one of the biggest goals we have with our program, not because you're going to get big and bulky, because you won't, but because that's going to raise your metabolism long term. You're going to be stronger, life's going to be easier, more energy, all those good things. But when you do cheat, when you do go back, if you go back to a little bit more normal eating, you won't do the same damage you did as before you had that muscle mass, if that makes sense. Now, if we go into calorie restriction and starvation mode, that's going to drastically decrease your metabolism long term, right? Both in the short and the long term. So that's bad. We don't want that. Now, cardio, okay? I'm not just bashing everything you're doing here. Cardio does burn calories. It does improve your rate of calorie burn, but only during the time you're doing it. So if you're burning, if you go on the treadmill, you do low intensity, steady state cardio for an hour, that's great. You're gonna burn those calories as you're doing that. But if you burn, say, 300 calories as you're burning that, as you're doing the treadmill, your body's gonna stop. It has nothing to kind of recover from, so you're done. That 300 calories is all you get, which is fine in some cases if it's complementing other stuff, but in this case it's not. In this case we're saying, oh, I know I just need to do cardio. False. That's not, you know, we love you, but that's not the way it's got to be. So interval training, right, this strength-based interval training that you may notice that we do, improves our calorie burn, improves our metabolism long term. Number one, because of muscle gain, but also because of a thing we call EPOC. EPOC is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And basically what happens is when we put you into this really kind of intense, your heart rate's going up really high and then coming down, you get some time to recover, then you go hard again, all that good stuff. Basically, when we put you through our workouts, your body has to recover. Your heart rate's got to catch up over the next 24, 36 hours. So your body is effectively burning more calories. It kind of stays in this state of exercise. You basically reap the rewards of the workout you did for 30 or 45 minutes in the gym for the next 24, 36 hours. Your metabolism stays peaked. It stays raised for that next 24, 36 hours, being infinitely more effective, not only in the short term, in the 30 to 45 minutes that you were doing the cardio, that you were doing the treadmill time, but also being incredibly more effective. It's like 0 to X amount than you were when you were just doing the cardio. So this kind of unpacks a little bit of why we don't have you guys do, oh, you just need cardio or you just need to drop your calories, things like that. If we thought that was best for you, I promise we'd tell you, we would let you know, but that is 100% of the time not the case. Strength and muscle gain. So, long story short, if you do the calorie restriction cardio bunny thing and do that alone, you're gonna end up fatter and worse off in the long run. Even if you lose weight in the short term, in the next 6 to 12 months, you lose weight in the short term, you're gonna end up fatter in the long term than if you do what we have you do. The end. Love you guys.